Oh, look, the clubs did their best, nowhere near what it is now. I mean, back then it was, the great thing about, from my perspective, is that there was about 5 clubhouses when there was 3 or 4 players around that 17, 18, 19-year-old age. We had to grow up very quickly. You imagine 16-year-old kids that have been looked after by mum their whole life, going into these clubhouses. We had a lot of fun. The welfare wasn't anywhere near as advanced as what it is now, but they were doing their best.
Second quarter marked the emergence of country kid John Longmire. The first gamer, put in the position of power at full forward, showed quickly he could surely mix it in the big league. And North soon discovered they had a dependable target.
When I did my knee at the start of '96, I knew we were a really good team at that point in time. We'd played in prelim finals, and I thought in '96 we were a chance to go a bit further, and we went and won the Premiership. To miss out on that was gut-wrenching. But you look back on it and you know, whether it was 2 knee reconstructions, missing a grand final through injury, I've also missed through selection. Those things are, I think they hold you in good stead if in the coaching stakes. It gives you some empathy for it. Doesn't make it any easier, but you try and look through the players' eyes. So we had a philosophy, particularly when Paul was coach, is to look at those blokes with roles, give them specific roles and recruit them in, which we're able to do. We had to make sure that we got the best out of the players that we had at that particular time. We had to make sure that at the drafts that we got, we absolutely nailed. I've been blessed to work with Kenny Beeson for many, many years. We had to get the best out of everything, and we were fortunate to be able to have a bounce into 2011, 2012 to be able to make the most out of, which I thought at the start might have been a bit of a tougher challenge or a longer challenge to get back to where we wanted to be.
Probably had one of the biggest impacts on me as a person throughout my life. He's been a massive mentor to me, and I can't imagine not having Horse as my coach.
Horse has been one of the biggest influences of my career, particularly the past couple of years. But even before I got drafted, he was coming down to academy sessions and chat to you and say how you're going. But particularly once I've been drafted, I've learned a hell of a lot off him, and he's an amazing coach and he gets the best out of us as a team. And I love playing for him every week.
There's a very small percentage of players make the game into the 200 game mark, for instance. Very, very low percentages. So. You've got to prepare for life after footy almost from day one, because you're not sure how long it'll go. What I've seen over the years is that the players that are really well balanced with something outside of footy are able to handle the highs and lows of football that much better. More often than not, those players are the ones that last the longest, that have got something outside of the game that they can turn to when the game's probably not always going to treat them well. Something I'm really conscious of is to, there's one thing to have the expectation, and you've got to be professional, and you've got to make sure you train hard and do all the basics to give yourself the best chance of making an AFL list. But at the same time, you've also got to have something else going for you. And no matter how talented you are, and often when our players get drafted, the first couple of years you might let them settle in a bit, but after that we're driving them really hard to do something outside of football. And we don't care what it is, whether it's university or it's a part-time job, that you're just feeling out what you'd like to be interested in outside of footy or post-football. It's really important, and our welfare people here at the footy club, led by Brett Kirker, and that was following on from Dennis Carroll for a long period of time, have been really strong on making sure that our players do something outside of footy. It's a balancing act, because you need to maintain strong standards, and you're in a professional cutthroat environment, and so there's no denying that. And so the standards that's required to compete at that level every week in a professional sporting environment is challenging. It's that thrill of competing. It's the thing I missed when I retired. I missed the highs and lows. Even though I loved it when I first retired, I actually got to a stage where I missed that, and that's the thing that gets us out of bed every day. But it's also understanding that everyone's different. Everyone's going to go at a different pace, and sometimes people have got other things in their life that's impacting their performance. That's really important. There's no point even talking about footy until you address that, and that's why you rely heavily on your assistant coaches, who are an amazing resource, and your welfare people.